What is one of the biggest fears that a lot of actors and actresses have, either in the beginning of their career, or I've heard actors and actresses throughout their career, this is still their fear. And it happened to me. I booked my first feature film a few months ago, and it was with the lead actor and musician, artist, creative Alex Wolff. You might know him from just growing up as an actor. He's in movies like Jumanji, Hereditary. He's the brother to Nate Wolff, and they have their band, and they are amazing creatives. And this fear that so many people have, and I experienced, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was forgetting your lines in the middle of a scene, or when the director says action and your mind goes blank, or maybe throughout the scene, there's a train. Anyways, I'll just raise my voice a bit, but forgetting your lines and in the middle of the scene, maybe blanking or not feeling prepared enough. And I remember I was in front of Alex, and in the scene, it was set in the restaurant. And in the restaurant, there were 30 other extras filling in the tables. And I had my or my on set wife, and he had his girlfriend, and they were all amazing actors. And I just remember that I had the first line and I delivered it. I only had 6 lines, by the way. And I hope when this feature film does come out, I can link it down in the description below and show you guys. But I had the first line that I delivered. And then, we went and we did rehearsals. So we were already comfortable with who said what, making sure everything was good there. But when you have 30 extras around you and you're sitting in front of an amazing actor that you've watched growing up, you feel the tension, you feel the nervousness. So I was feeling that fear. And in my head, I was thinking the whole time, don't forget your line, don't flub your line, don't forget your line. And it was like this opposite manifestation moment to where I forgot my line. And I also messed up my line because it was such a tongue twister of a line. And I just remember in that moment when the director said, cut, and he came up to me and he was like, hey, just, it's okay if you can't get these words out. We're going over, Alex's coverage or the other actor's coverage. So, play with the scene, just stay true to the character. It's totally cool. And all directors are different, by the way. But I just remember, after majority of take after take, I kept messing up the line and the director didn't say anything until it got to my coverage. And that means the camera was on me. And it was a full body shot. I'm not sure. Maybe there was another camera. I can't remember now thinking back, but I just remember it was a full body shot. And the director said, okay, listen, this is, your moment. So make sure make sure you say the lines right, essentially. I mean, he said it much nicer than that. So we did the take. He said, and action. I gave the first line. We did, the rest of the scene. And then I just remember getting to that tongue twister of a line. And all throughout, I was thinking, this is before I got to the tongue twister of the line. I was thinking, don't mess up this line. You've messed it up 18 times already. And so we got to the line, and guess what? I messed it up. I was too busy thinking about not messing it up and hopefully not forgetting. The director said cut, and he said, okay, take 10 to 15. And I know what that means. I mean, that means maybe there's camera movement. They want to change angles. Maybe he just wanted to give me some extra time to go over my lines. So when we pick back up again, I know what I'm doing. I remember during that 10 to 15 minute break, I came up to him and I said, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get these lines out and I'm just having a hard time right now. And it was just because of all this tension of working with an amazing actor and having all these other people thinking about, okay, are they hearing what I'm saying? What are they thinking? I was too busy being in my own head that it took me out of the scene. And so as I was talking to the director about messing up my lines and I was just apologizing him for it, it was a beautiful moment. It was a father-son moment. He put his hands on my shoulders, looked me right in the eyes, and he said, listen, it's okay. Because it's better to be true to the character. No one else knows what you're saying. They don't have the script. As long as you say it with confidence, as long as you're being true to your character, that's what I want to capture. And I want to capture you listening to Alex's character, to the other actresses in this scene. How do you feel about what's going on? And he really comforted me and reminded me, and what I want to remind anyone who feels afraid to not mess up. First of all, we all do it. Even A-list actors, they still mess up their lines and they go through multiple takes and they have tongue twisters of lines. Sometimes it's monologue after monologue and pages of dialogue throughout a scene. And it's very complex. Maybe it's a physical thing. Maybe it's like blocking. You have to worry about where you are and landing on a certain mark. There's so many things that, whether it's the beginning of your career or you're very experienced, we all go through this. And what I want to remind you about when he said, stay true to the character, was he knew, well, maybe he didn't know about your prep. Now, every actor, every actress, every creative has their own prep and how they want to break down a script and get into character, how many people will describe understanding the character. For me, I ask myself questions in a scene. I'll say, okay, who am I to the other person? Who am I to Alex's character? Am I his friend? Am I his boss? Am I um, a stranger? It'll all affect how I go about the scene. I ask myself, okay, what's my goal here? Am I trying to impress him and my wife in front of him and his wife? Is there some dynamic that I don't know about that I should stay clueless to? And then where am I? Yes, I know I'm in a restaurant, but where are we in the movie? Where are we in this scene in his life, in my life? Where am I in my life? Am I still on the journey of a successful businessman, or am I, you know, already at the top and I, stand a little bit taller? Um, so there are a lot of things that affect how you go about a script, and that's what you call prep and just prepping for a scene. And if you want me to go in depth and have an actual script that I can explain to you guys how I would prep for a scene, whether it's a cold read or something I prepared for a while, please let me know in the comments down below. But getting back to, this fear of forgetting your lines, of flubbing a line, and what do you do in that moment when the director says action and you just don't know what to do? Well, first of all, the biggest issue I had was just being so consumed with my thoughts on the fear of judgment, on the fear of, okay, there are so many people around me. There's a director who worked with amazing actors. There's an amazing actor in front of me, and I just don't want to make a bad impression. You want to do good. You want to have a good scene. And all that is doing, not only is it making you more stressed, it's taking you out of the moment. And that's something that other trainings like improv has taught me to come back to come back to the present. And I've been documenting this journey of taking improv classes at the Second City in Chicago, which, if you don't know what it is, it's just an improv school, but to me it's the best in the entire United States. Um, and it really taught me to be present, to listen, to react. Because if you miss something that the other scene partner would give you in an improv scene, you're missing valuable information that you can utilize to continue the scene further. So, improv is one thing, but listening, reacting, you can learn that in many different acting classes. And that's something I utilize to my advantage to bring me back to the scene. When the director said action and I got lost during the scene, I said my first line of dialogue to start off the scene and they went about theirs. I remember I just had this out of body experience, this self-awareness moment of thinking, okay, I'm too worried about everyone else around me, about if this camera can see me. Am I sitting right? What do I do with my hands? I said, I'm noticing this. I'm just going, and it took me out of the dialogue and the reactions of what was happening in that moment. But I said, okay, I can only control right now. So I'm going to listen to the next sentence I hear. And of course, you know the script, you know what's about to happen. Um, so but you don't know how the other actors and actresses are going to perform those lines. Sometimes they give a take that you didn't expect for. So, in that moment of self awareness, when I felt the fear of judgment and this anxiety and the stress, I said, okay, I'm just going to listen to the next words and sentences I hear. And I listened to Alex. Then I listened to his girlfriend on set of the scene. Then I listened to my on set wife. I knew my lines were coming and I just said it to the best of my ability. Was it right? Probably not. I probably had one good take where I said all the lines correct, but truthfully, after what I heard from the director, um, Colin West, by the way, he's an amazing director. He worked with Jim Gaffigan in a previous film called Equilibrium. I don't know if that's the right one. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But everyone on the set was so comforting. Even Alex, even after all those takes that I flubbed, he said, I was he almost did the same thing Colin did. I was walking away. He might have just sensed that I was feeling a little bit more nervous from flubbing all these lines and, the director coming up and telling me, "Hey, it's this line. Make sure you land on it correctly in terms of saying it right." So as we took our 10 to 15-minute break, because we took a lot, Alex came up behind, put his hand on my shoulders. He said, "Hey, dude, you're doing a good job. You're a great actor. You're doing a great job, man. It takes a lot to do this. You're doing great." And I'm hearing it from him. I was like, okay, put me in the next Jumanji. It's funny because he literally just wrapped up Jumanji, came to where we were filming to film that feature film that he was the lead in. Um, and then